Today we will talk about religion. Religion in an RPG. That was awful. Alright guys, so today we are going to be talking about religion in RPGs. Now, first of all, I would like to apologize for that introduction. My editor has stolen it from me. So yes, that's my intro now. And it's going to happen every week. No, it won't. It won't. Not happening. Alright. So, religion in games. What are we going to be talking about? We are going to be talking about just expanding our understanding of how religion works in an RPG context. Now, in a lot of ways, people reserve religion and devotion and all of that sort of stuff for characters who gain a tangible benefit from it. Your oracle, your paladin, your cleric, all of these guys basically gain their powers from a god, so obviously it's relevant to them. But the thing is that worship isn't just for these guys. There are people out there in the world who may not necessarily get or feel the touch of their gods in the game, but they still worship, they still have that faith, they still have that belief, and it's important to be able to acknowledge them. So today we're going to be looking at the 4 different schools of worship that literally anyone can do in an RPG. First up is devotion to a god. Being devoted to your god means that you look at what they basically represent, their domains, their beliefs, who they are as an individual, and you adopt their faiths and philosophies to your own personal life. Now, this is probably what a lot of people tend to do, and it is almost to replicate or to relive the lives that the gods lived. What I mean by this is, a dwarven paladin of Torag, you might find will actually be not only this really large, bulky fella, he'll also have a warhammer that looks just like Torag's warhammer. He'll have a full suit of metal that'll look like Torag's metal, and he'll go out there and he'll protect people, and he'll like start working on things on the forge in his spare downtime. Yeah, he is basically going to, at that point, devote himself to Torag so much that he will eventually just become Torag. Now, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But that is very common. How often does it sound familiar that the paladin always looks and feels and sounds like the paladin... Oh, sorry. Well, it doesn't look, but feels like the paladin god. You know, if you close your eyes and block your ears and you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure the paladin god... Right there. Oh, Sarenrae, it's good to see you. Yes, all of your faiths and philosophies. I've read so much about them. It's good to see that you're doing that. Being devoted to your god is about that. It is about the humbleness of being a part of your god by, well, representing what they represent. The second is devotion to a church. Now, this is a lot less common, but I think a very strong part of what I think makes day-to-day life in an RPG. This is faith to a building with a hierophant, with a leader, with a spiritual person that will guide your group or your community on the path towards being accepted and loved by the god that they are, representing. So this could be a church of Aristil, and the whole community comes out and they listen to the words of the priest as he shares stories about these glorious hunts and these expanded communities that have managed to raise this wild animal and set it free, only to have it return big and strong and hunted to feed the entire village during a famine. You know, all these kind of things are about the real low-level, down-to-earth worship. Right? And a lot of NPCs fall into this category. So why not PCs? Let me ask you a question. Have you, at any of your tables, had your games take part in a service? Go to a church with your group and have your whole group sit down and listen to a sermon by the cleric of Asmodeus. I mean, that'd be pretty cool, right? I mean, could you imagine the choir, heavy metal? Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. But anyway, listening to the service, hearing what the priest has to say, and then leaving. And maybe that's a regular thing. My cleric goes to this town. My cleric goes and finds the local church. My cleric sits and listens to a sermon. I don't sit there and try to rummage through all their stuff or try to get free donations or see if they've got any rumors on quests. No, I'm worshipping. I am devoted to this church. I am interested in this church's well-being as it is interested in my spiritual being. So devoting yourself to a church, very strong, and it is the thing for the masses. So always includes like some community with that, right? Like don't ever have your players do it on their own because that's boring. Do it with the whole community and then have people talk to them about it. Like, oh, did you hear Father Augilius? He basically turned around and said that we should drink the blood of the virgins. What do you think of this? Oh, yes. Yeah, no, I think virgin blood is awesome. It's just so hard to find these days. Okay, but, I digress. That is an example of, that whole community thing that you want to build when devoted to a church. Next up is devoted to a philosophy. Now, this means you are separated from both God and from church. You are an independent individual. You feel, you think, you have your own beliefs and your own code. And this may come down to a philosophy that you follow. It could be something like my philosophy on everything, every living thing is sacred. Even the evil things, even the insects. I am a vegan. I do all this sort of thing. This is a philosophy. Now, when you are a cleric or a paladin or a druid or whatever the case may be, a god may look at you and go, that guy's pretty cool, and he will grant you powers. Even if you don't worship him or worship his church, you are still following the tenets that they support, so they will grant you powers. So remember that you aren't always shoehorned as a paladin or a cleric to follow a church. You can very easily come up with a series of lifestyle guides that will guide you through your adventure in the support and in the good favor of a god, even if you don't know who that god is. A good example of this is the Oracle. The Oracle, for example, does not need to worship the god that grants them power. They are granted their power whether they like it or not. So long as they don't actively work against that god, they gain their powers. In the same way, if you are devoted to your kitchenware, you may be worshipped by the god of clean housing. Now, you may not ever know that there was a god of clean housing, but lo and behold, you still are granted their power. So remember, devoted to philosophy. It's a great way to kind of, not tie yourself down to those churches and things. Next up is atheism. So what do we do when we deal with atheism? Well, these guys are crazy. Hands down. So basically, when you get to a point where you can actually literally feel, see, and touch a god in your world, and you still go, well, gods aren't real. Well, okay, yeah, that's just not going to fly. It's not going to work. Those people are just downright crazy. What you can do, however, with atheism is you can look at it as these aren't gods. These are supremely powerful beings that are able to distribute a large quantity of very powerful magics among the people of the world. This does not make them gods. This makes them incredibly powerful beings. But a god, what is a god? Is a god something that writes the fates? Is a god something that stitches together the entire fabric of the universe? What is it? And that is where atheism kind of lies. You can either take it in the full-blown loony bin kind of way where you don't believe in the things that you actually are seeing physically. Like, there's no such person as Saren Ray. Yes, there is. She's over there. Right there. Or you can take it into the, more kind of like underplaying kind of way, which is, yeah, Saren Ray's there. She's got flaming hair and stuff and a sword, and yeah, she's an angel, but there are tons of angels. The angels are outsiders. We know about outsiders. I can go to heaven literally on a, there's a train on its way. Take it as a very matter-of-fact thing. The last thing is, of course, devoting to yourself. Now, devoting to yourself is about the perfection of yourself, and some gods admire that. Now, it's not about trying to look pretty or trying to sort of be strong and be fast and be nimble. What it is about that understanding of yourself, the journey of your self-discovery. Gods that fit into this category are gods like Irori and Desna, who it's all about your own experience, about your journey through life. And sometimes that's enough. Simply having faith in yourself is having enough Alright guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it helps you in your quest to understand religion in your RPGs. Once again, just touching on them again. Devotion to a god, devotion to a church, devotion to a philosophy, devotion to yourself, and atheism. All amazing ways to kind of really explore the concept of religion in your RPG. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you really want to check out more videos that we've got in the works, hit that subscribe button. And as always, you can find me on Facebook, play our games, and you know, sort of read some of the other articles I write. If you want to chat with me directly, come say hi on Discord. And of course, if you want to help us out by donating, you can go and visit our Patreon and become one of our cheeky goblins and help us make better quality videos in the future. As always, guys, keep your dice rolling and make sure your ideas stay mindworm free. Have a good one.